Hello ladies and gentlemen, in this video I'm going to be naming who I think will be every NFL team's breakout player in 2025. The title is pretty self-explanatory. There's obviously no rookies because there's no track record for rookies to be based off of, so a lot of these players are in their second or third seasons, or in some cases fourth. But be ready, because this is going to be one entertaining video, and the video begins right after this. As a lot of you who follow me may know, or maybe you don't know, I am a gigantic Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I've been looking to find the best deal on Eagles tickets so I can go see them at home this year. That is why I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. The NFL schedule just came out, which means football is around the corner, plus baseball is back, and the Club World Cup is in the United States this summer. I love using SeatGeek. I've been to an Eagles home game before using it, and it was a tremendous experience. It's completely different than it is on television, especially when your team is winning and doing well. The energy within the stadium, camaraderie you feel with other fans, it's really something special. Another great thing about SeatGeek is that they have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know whether you're getting a good deal or a bad one. So look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And plus, every ticket is backed by SeatGeek's buyer guarantee. And you know I came through for you guys. You can use code BARRY10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code BARRY10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. Arizona Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. Harrison Jr. was one of the most heralded rookie receiver prospects in recent memory, even being compared to Calvin Johnson. And although he had a solid rookie season, it was somewhat underwhelming. But he still is going to be just 23 years old by the time the season starts. He's bulked up, and hopefully his rapport with quarterback Kyler Murray is even better. So although his first season was a bit of a disappointment, I don't see any reason why he still can't become a dominant receiver in the league starting this year. Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix. The draft decision that made waves last year after the Falcons had just signed Kirk Cousins to a massive contract, Penix eventually found his way to the field in the last 3 games of the season, and although he didn't light up the stat sheet, 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, he did show some flashes of really good potential and some really nice throws. Let's be honest, folks, if the Falcons are going to do anything, it's going to be because Penix develops into an elite quarterback, but he better do so soon because he's already 25 years old and has a long injury history. But I do like the way he plays, and I think that he will have a sophomore leap instead of a sophomore slump. Baltimore Ravens, Nate Wiggins. When the Ravens took Wiggins 30th overall last season, they were expecting a shutdown corner with elite speed. And while Wiggins had a solid rookie season, including 1 interception with a pick 6, it left a little bit to be desired. But the potential is still there. Wiggins just needs to bulk up, as he weighed in at just 182 pounds, which is very, very skinny by NFL standards. Although, biasedly, I might admit, the Eagles got the best cornerback in the draft with Quinyon Mitchell. Wiggins has the ability to be the second best, and I believe he will take a leap in his second season and will help take a Ravens defense that was good, not great, to elite in 2025. Buffalo Bills, Keon Coleman. This is a pretty simple choice because Coleman was selected 33rd overall last year to help give Josh Allen more receiver support, and although Allen would go on to win a highly questionable MVP, Allen still put up elite numbers, but it wasn't because Coleman had an elite rookie season or anything. He finished with just 556 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he averaged nearly 20 yards per reception. Still just 22 years old. If there is any player who is poised for a breakout season on Buffalo, help them become even better and perhaps get through the Mahomes gap, it's Keon Coleman. I would actually be kind of surprised if he doesn't have a 1,000-yard season this year. Carolina Panthers, Xavier Legette. Legette has become somewhat more famous for eating raccoons and his off-the-field activity, but the first-round pick from last season really needs to prove that he is worth the draft spot, because as a rookie, he played in 16 games, finished with under 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's not going to cut it for a first-round pick at receiver. I'm sure most people for this situation would say, well, Bryce Young should be the breakout player, but I don't know. Saying that a first overall pick is going to be a breakout player is a little bit lame, even if he's going into his 3rd season. But nonetheless, Bryce Young's improvement or success, I believe, will be heavily correlated with the improvement of Xavier Legette. So Xavier Legette improves in his 2nd season, then chances are Bryce Young will have the best season of his career, and vice versa. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams. I realize that I just said that saying a first overall pick to be a breakout player is kind of stupid, but I never said that I was the smartest person, okay? And in this case, I think it's true, because Caleb Williams had a somewhat underwhelming rookie season, at least comparable to his fellow rookie Jaden Daniels. When you're the first overall pick, you're expected to be a superstar, especially at the quarterback position, and with the way the NFL is nowadays, slanted towards quarterbacks and all the rules offensively, if you're not at least average by the time your 2nd or 3rd season rolls around, then there's time, it's pause for concern. In Williams' case, he took way too many sacks, and he might have been a little bit too conservative with the ball, but the talent is still there, so I haven't sold all my stock on Williams yet, as why he's here on this list. But if he has another mediocre season this year, then I do believe it would be time to have some cause for concern, but I think he will prove all of his supporters right, like me, and have a breakout season. Cincinnati Bengals, Amarius Mims, the absolutely towering 6'8", 340-pound giant who was picked 18th overall by the Bengals in 2024 to protect Joe Burrow's butt, had a solid, if not slightly above average rookie season where he started 15 games, and although, as we know, the Bengals did not make the playoffs, they had one of the better offenses in the league. Simply put, Mims is the selection here because his potential is limitless. He is a physical monster who, if he pans out, will be an absolute stud and make the Bengals offense even more dangerous than it already is, and I think he's going to become that stud. Cleveland Browns, Jerome Ford. Ford is entering his 4th season in the NFL, all with Cleveland, and for most of his first 3 seasons, he was second fiddle behind Nick Chubb, and he filled in whenever Chubb got hurt. But now that Chubb is gone, Ford is taking over the top spot. And last season, he averaged 5.4 yards per carry, but he averaged just 7 attempts per game. I believe that the Browns will look to run the ball more to help take pressure off of whoever their quarterback is, and I believe Ford will break the 1,000-yard barrier. He's also shown to be a capable receiver as well, so I think this is a very good player who is finally going to get a very good opportunity to showcase his skills. Dallas Cowboys, Jaylen Tolbert. We all know that CeeDee Lamb is an elite receiver and he's the Cowboys' #1. That is without a doubt, but I believe that Tolbert can be one of the better #2 receivers, no offense to Odell Beckham, in the league. Last season, with Dak Prescott missing a lot of games, he had the best year of his career, recording over 600 yards and 7 touchdown catches. I believe this year, with Dak returning and Tolbert having another year of experience, that we're going to see him have a Pro Bowl caliber season that will ultimately end before the conference championship round, as the Cowboys are wont to do. Denver Broncos, Jonah Ellis. I kind of had to dig deep for this one because, again, this is a breakthrough player video, and some of these choices are supposed to be surprising, so if you're a Broncos fan and you think that Ellis sucks, too bad. He played in all 17 games as a rookie last year. He had 38 tackles, and he had 5 sacks, which caught my eye, although he was a bit of a liability in coverage. But the fact that he was able to get 5 sacks in relatively low amount of snap percentage, he only played 38% of defensive snaps, that tells me that if this guy ends up becoming more of a 70%, 80% type of guy, he plays that amount of defensive snaps, we could be looking at a double-digit sack guy in Jonah Ellis. The Broncos defense is already the strength of their team, but they could become even better if Ellis breaks out like I expect him to. Detroit Lions, Jameson Williams. This might be kind of a cop-out choice because maybe a lot of people have been expecting Jameson Williams to break out for 3 or 4 years now, but the guy is a game breaker when he gets his hands on the ball. His rookie season, he's been in the league for 3 years. His rookie year, he caught 1 pass for 41 yards. Second year, 354 yards. And last year, he finally, but barely, broke the 1,000-yard scale as a receiver with 1,001 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's a deep ball threat, but still, it feels like he hasn't put it all together, whether it's from suspensions or injuries. You just feel like there's a monster 1,500-yard type of season lurking in there there, and that some of the targets that are going to Amon-Ra St. Brown might start heading Williams' way. I never thought I'd say this about any of my videos, but the Lions have a bunch of talent, so it's kind of difficult to choose who their breakout player would be. But Williams gets the nod here. Green Bay Packers, Rasheed Walker. Walker started out as a lowly 7th round pick in 2022 out of Penn State, but now he's developed into a very good left tackle. He started all 17 games last year for the Packers and put up good grades for PFF, and the potential is still limitless. He stands at 6'6", 324 pounds, and athletic. I don't see any reason why he can't develop into a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro type of player. It certainly wouldn't hurt the Packers and Jordan Love if he did so. Houston Texans, Kamari Lacader. One of the big reasons for the Texans going from being dog shit to first place in the AFC South the last 2 seasons is their drafting, and Lacader appears to be another hit. Drafted in the 2nd round last year, he finished his rookie season with 3 interceptions, 58 tackles, and a safety. And just for good measure, he also recorded another interception in the playoffs. Opposing quarterbacks had just a 64 passer rating when throwing his way. Basically, Lacader has feature star written all over him, except he is a little bit on the smaller side, the frail side, for a cornerback. But if he can stay durable, he is going to be a stud alongside with Derek Stingley Jr. The Texans are setting themselves up to have a very good defense for years to come, particularly in the secondary. Indianapolis Colts, Latu Lu. I thought that Latu was going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year last season, and he was, quite frankly, a disappointment. He played in all 17 games, but he started just 1. He recorded 4 sacks and 32 tackles, and he finished 12th, yes, 12th, in Defensive Rookie of the Year. For a guy who was supposed to be the best pure pass rusher in the class, that's not going to cut it. He did make the NFL All-Rookie team, which shows that there still is potential there, which is why I am not off the island yet. I have not sold my stock in Latu Lu yet. There are plenty of examples of talented first-round picks who have mediocre rookie seasons, and then they figure it out in year 2, and that's what I'm betting on with Latu. I still believe he can become a perennial 12-plus sack guy in the league. He has all the tools, he has all the measurables. Now it's time for him to put it all together. Jacksonville Jaguars, Anton Harrison. I was going to be cheeky and say Trevor Lawrence because I swear to God, for the last half-decade, everybody thinks that the year is going to be where Trevor Lawrence finally breaks out and matches the hype, but I went with a actual smart choice. Anton Harrison, 6'4", 315-pound tackle, former first-round pick a couple years ago. Doesn't have any accolades, but he's graded out as basically average to mediocre thus far. And again, this is a breakthrough video. This isn't supposed to be players who are already good. So to me, I think that he is a prime candidate to become a stalwart and live up to the first-round pick that he had a couple years ago. And who knows, maybe him living up to that first-round status as an offensive lineman will help Trevor Lawrence finally live up to his status as a generational quarterback prospect, and also help Brian Thomas Jr. continue his great young career, etc., etc. Who knows? I doubt it, though, because Jacksonville is full of old people. Kansas City Chiefs, George Karlaftis. Furious George, as he's known, is entering his 4th season in the league, and he has led a spoiled career thus far, winning 2 Super Bowls and making the Super Bowl in every year of his career. As a rookie, he had 6 sacks. As a sophomore, he had 10.5 sacks, and last year he had 8 sacks, but he had a career high in quarterback hits in 28. Another thing about Karlaftis is that he is a gamer. He is a playoff riser. In each of the last 2 postseasons, he has led the postseason in sacks, which again is also a product of him playing the most games, but it shows that he's a guy that can raise his game with higher leverage moments. And that's why I believe, even though he hasn't yet and he's still just 24 years old, I believe there's still a lot of untapped potential with Karlaftis, and he could become a 15-sack type of guy, or at the very least more productive than what he's been so far in the regular season. And it would be great for the Chiefs if they could get somebody besides Chris Jones on the defensive line to dominate, because Jones is getting up there in age. And if there's any guy that can do that on their defense, I believe it's Karlaftis. I expect him to have Pro Bowl, All-Pro type season this year. Las Vegas Raiders, Michael Mayer. No, I did not include him because he sounds like Michael Myers, and I am a big Halloween fan. All right, maybe a little bit. But the Raiders, I believe, have been waiting for Mayer to break out ever since they drafted him in the 2nd round a couple years ago. He had some flashes as a rookie, but last year he recorded just 21 catches for 156 yards, 7.4 yards per reception. That's not going to cut it. And with the emergence of Brock Bowers as a great receiver, receiver, maybe his touches won't even be as good. But I have to believe that the Raiders are going to try and get Mayer involved more in the passing game this upcoming season to take some pressure off of Bowers and to help Geno Smith with his checkdowns and a safety valve when plays break down, at least in a perfect world. Los Angeles Chargers, Joe Alt. Joe Alt was the 5th overall pick in the draft last year out of Notre Dame. He's a 6'8", 322-pound young man who's an absolute tower. He started 16 games as a rookie. He finished 7th in the Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. He played 100% of his team's snaps when he was on the field. He graded out pretty well. PFF, not superstar level, but almost there. So this is a pretty easy choice. I don't see any reason why Joe Alt is not going to become an all-pro player as soon as this year. He hasn't made a Pro Bowl yet, but that is going to change very, very quickly. Joe Alt is in line to become the next best offensive lineman in the NFL in very short order. Los Angeles Rams, Byron Young. For years, Aaron Donald was the headliner on the Rams defense, but he retired. And then last year, Jared Verse came in and won Defensive Rookie of the Year and stole a lot of the headlines. But Byron Young has just flown under the radar for most of his first 2 seasons in the NFL after being a 3rd-round pick in 2023. As a rookie, he had 8 sacks and 61 tackles and finished 8th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. Last year, pretty similar numbers, 7.5 sacks. The one thing with Young is that he's ironically old for a guy in his 3rd season. He's going to be 27 by the time the season starts, but that's still young enough to make an impact. I believe that this is the year where Young and also Jared Verse, of course, become one of the best tandems in the NFL, or at least even better than they already were a year ago. The one area where Young does need to clean up on is in pass coverage. He can be susceptible in pass coverage as an outside linebacker, but he's more of a pass rusher. Let's just be real. I think, and would not be surprised, if Young ends up getting a 12-sack season and Verse ends up becoming an all-pro. But Young is my pick because everybody already has Jared Verse on the map because of his accolades that he won as a rookie. Miami Dolphins, Jaylen Phillips. This is a risky decision largely because of health. There has never been any questions about Jaylen Phillips' talent when he's on the field. His first 2 seasons, he didn't miss a game. As a rookie, he had 8.5 sacks. His second year, he had 7 sacks and 25 quarterback hits. And then what looked to be a breakout year in 2023 for him, he had 6.5 sacks in 8 games before having a season-ending injury. And then last year, he recorded just 1 sack in 4 games before another season-ending injury. The point is that he's still just 26 years old, and if this guy can stay healthy for once, as he's entering his prime, he's going to put up bonkers numbers. He has all the measurables. He seems to have the right mentality. He's just had bad luck the last couple years, and I've been on the Jaylen Phillips train before, and I'm still not ready to sell my stock. I think this is the year where he breaks out and gets Pro Bowl nods and some All-Pro recognition. Minnesota Vikings, Ivan Pace. Ivan Pace was undrafted in 2023, but he's turned out to be a hell of a find thus far for the Vikings. As a rookie, he had over 100 tackles and 2.5 sacks, and he was on pace to put up even better numbers last year, but he missed 6 games. Now, with Pace, he can be a little bit susceptible in pass coverage. Last year, he gave up a passer rating of 101.1 in coverage after having a passer rating allowed of 75.9 as a rookie, so maybe the injury last season played a role in him potentially taking a step back, but I believe he's flying under the radar, and I believe that the Vikings have a good player in this guy, and if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a consistent 100-plus tackle, probably multiple interception, multiple sack guy, and those are valuable. He's undersized, he's only 5'10" for a linebacker, but the guy can play, and I think a lot more people are going to know that after this season. New England Patriots, Drake Maye. Maye is kind of the forgotten first-round quarterback pick from 2024, besides J.J. McCarthy. 3rd overall pick went behind Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels for a terrible New England team, and he finished with respectable numbers, certainly better than Jacoby Brissett. He somehow made a Pro Bowl, which is just hilarious. He finished the year with 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. He proved to be a very, very good scrambler, which is shocking, I know, because skin color. He had some moments of brilliance, but basically the point is Drake Maye is going to have to become a 30-touchdown type of guy in order for the Patriots to get back to any sort of relevance. The problem is that he still doesn't really have a lot of talent around him, although Mike Vrabel did seem to turn around Ryan Tannehill's career for a couple years. I guess what I'm saying is, somewhat confusingly, that I expect Drake Maye to be better, and I expect the Patriots to possibly fight for the 7th seed or a wild card spot, and they're not going to be able to do that unless Maye improves significantly. significantly, and I'll take my chances on that happening. New Orleans Saints, Taliese Fuaga. Tali, our friend here, was the 14th overall pick last year, and he started all 17 games as a rookie for a crappy Saints team, but he graded out very well, and he looks to be one of the next studs at the left tackle position in the NFL. If he stays healthy, there's no reason why he shouldn't continue to improve into an all-pro level player. New York Giants, Kavon Tibido. It's really now or never for the former 5th overall pick. He looked to be heading in the right direction after improving from 4 sacks as a rookie to 11.5 sacks in 2023, but then last year he was injured and he fell to just 5.5 sacks and recorded just 28 tackles. Basically, he regressed and got injured. When you get picked 5th overall, especially at a position like defensive end, you are supposed to be a future superstar, all-pro type of player, and Thibodeau has not been that. Even though Dexter Lawrence is arguably the best interior lineman in the league, to take pressure off of him, he hasn't produced like it. And quite honestly, because the Giants don't really have a lot of young talent outside of Malik Neighbors, I went with this guy because if he's ever going to live up to the hype, it's got to be this year. New York Jets, Olu Fanu, the 11th overall pick in 2024, played in just 57% of the team's snaps, but he graded out relatively well by PFF, and at 6'6", 312 pounds, he certainly has all of the metrics and the athleticism to be a great offensive lineman. If there's one thing that the Jets have had over the years, it's respectable offensive linemen. Now, if they can only find a quarterback to go along with it. Philadelphia Eagles, Nolan Smith. This was so difficult as an Eagles fan because we have so many great young players. So who's a young player on our roster right now that really is flying under the radar, but is also in position to take the next step? And I might have said Nakobe Dean, but he got hurt last year in the playoffs, so I'm going to go with Nolan Smith. He had a very disappointing rookie season with just 1 sack in 17 games. He started to turn it on a little bit last year in the regular season with 6.5 sacks, but he really came into his own in the postseason, where he led the postseason with 4 sacks and 4 tackles for loss, and I believe that's going to be a starting point, a jump-off point for him to really become the next level outside linebacker that he was drafted to be when he came out of Georgia in 2023. If they can get him to take the next level, and obviously you got Jalen Carter, who's an amazing driver. The Eagles' defense, which was already great, obviously, and already has a lot of great young pieces, is going to be even scarier this year. God, I'm so happy to be an Eagles fan. But anyway, yes, expect Nolan Smith to get double-digit sacks this year. Pittsburgh Steelers, Calvin Austin III. Austin was drafted in the 4th round in 2022, but he didn't play in any games as a rookie, and then in 2023, he had just 17 catches, and then last year, he increased that to 36 catches for 548 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging an impressive 15.2 yards per attempt. Now, if there's one thing about Aaron Rodgers, who is the new Steelers quarterback, he does not really like throwing to tight ends. So the receivers, DK Metcalf, whatever, is going to be his number one, but Calvin Austin Jr. is going to be a guy to look at when Rodgers throws deep, and I think he could be another deep threat for Rodgers, and I see his numbers increasing. I don't know how many games the Steelers are going to win, but I do see Calvin Austin having an increase in production with Rodgers there instead of having to switch up with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. San Francisco 49ers, D. Winters. If there's one thing the Niners seem to excel at, it's finding diamonds in the rough late in the draft. Although they surprisingly seem to really suck at picking first rounders. But either way, D. Winters is up next, in my opinion. We all know that the Niners have Fred Warner, who's arguably the best linebacker in the league. But D. Winters, a 6th round pick from 2023, is on the rise. He had 10 tackles as a rookie, but last year he improved that to 44 tackles. The more playing time he gets, the more productive he's going to be, and I think he's going to be a big reason why the 49ers get back to the playoffs this year after a very, very injury-filled 2024. He's going to be a very good second linebacker to Fred Warner. Remember this. Seattle Seahawks, Derek Hall, 2nd round pick from 2023. Hall had a forgettable rookie season, but last year he exploded from 0 sacks as a rookie to 8 sacks and was a big reason for the Seahawks' marketed improvement defensively from the year before. He also had 20 quarterback hits. Who knows how good he is in run support, but this guy's potential as a pass rusher is off the charts, and God knows the Seahawks need him to become an elite player if they're ever going to get back to a conference championship game or a Super Bowl, which somehow they haven't been able to do in over a decade. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Yaya Diab. Oh yeah, baby, that's right. Diab was a 3rd round pick in 2023, and after a rookie season where he finished 5th in Defensive Rookie of the Year Player voting. On the surface, his numbers seemed to take a bit of a drop off last year. He went from 7.5 sacks as a rookie to 4.5 sacks last season. But it's worth noting, as a rookie, he had just 8 quarterback hits, but as a sophomore, he had 20. What that means is that he got into the backfield less times as a rookie, but he capitalized more often, leading to a higher sack total. But even though he had a lower sack total in his sophomore season, he was consistently generating more pressure, hence more quarterback hits. He won the Defensive Player of the Week last year late in the season. He's an absolute freak athlete, 6'4", 270-pound outside linebacker. This is a guy that the one thing that's really stopping the Buccaneers from becoming contenders is their defense. And last year, their defense wasn't very good. The year before that, it wasn't very good either. If Diaby breaks out into becoming an all-pro type player, then the Buccaneers could be a team to watch to lose to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game next year. Tennessee Titans, J.C. Latham. Yes, this is another pick of a high first rounder from last year on the offensive line who didn't receive any awards or any accolades from the media, but I think for a team that is ridiculously bad in the Tennessee Titans, I think that he's going to be a good one, as he should be because he was picked 7th overall. Basically, long story short, I think he's going to develop into a Pro Bowl player, and he's going to be a huge part in the development of Cam Ward and whether or not Cam Ward becomes a good NFL quarterback. If Latham ends up being average, Cam Ward won't be very good, but if Latham improves to become a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro, then Cam Ward will be very good. That's just my humble opinion on it. And finally, Washington Commanders, Quan Martin. Quan Martin's the 2nd overall pick from 2023, and last year he had 87 tackles and an interception. He also had a pick 6 in the playoffs when the Commanders had their surprise run to the NFC Championship game where they got ass blasted by my Eagles. Now, as we all know, the Commanders' offense is truly special, but their defense is very, very doo-doo. But if Quan Martin can improve the way I think he can, then the Commanders can become special. Honestly, I don't really fully believe, or I'm not very bullish on this particular pick because there's so many problems with Washington's defense. It's more than one player. But if I had to pick one player to become a notable star on that side of the ball for Washington, besides Frankie Luvo, it would be Quan